All right, ladies and gentlemen, this is part 2 of a mini lesson for A Night to Remember close read. If you didn't watch part 1 and listen to the announcement there, please make sure you watched part 1, as this is going to go into part 2, the actual lesson from class today itself. So we started class with announcements as we normally do. Your close read for period 0 is going to be due Saturday. And for period 2, which you are not part of, it's still due today for them because we had class without any connection issues. Reminder to fill out the late form when you are turning in any late work. The late form can be found in the announcements in our Canvas course. We started class today by watching a clip from Toy Story. We continue talking about how different points of view can affect how we read the story, as well as how we perceive the story and the events as the audience. Point of view can also affect how the author crafts and creates the story. So we watched a clip of Toy Story 3 and had a discussion about what were the different perspectives in this clip and how might the different people present in this scene experience the event differently. So here is the clip, and you can be thinking about that as you watch this. What are the point of views, and how might they perceive this event differently? This comes from Toy Story 3, where Andy, the main character from the past 2 Toy Stories, is saying goodbye to his mom as he's going off to college.
Goodbye, Molly. We've said goodbye like 10 times. Mom, it's okay. I wish I could always be with you. You will be, Mom.
Hey, are you gonna say goodbye to Buster?
Of course I am. Who's a good dog? Who's a good doggy?
All right, so that is what we did in class in terms of our warm-up, and we discussed the perspectives of Andy and his mom and the sister and Woody, and how they all might have felt and how they might have told the story a little bit differently depending who was the narrator. And the same goes for our story we're reading this week, A Night to Remember. We have multiple different characters. We have multiple different accounts of what they felt as the Titanic hit an iceberg, all experiencing the exact same event, but telling their experience a little bit differently. Walter Lord is the author of A Night to Remember, and he wrote this story about 50 years after the Titanic sank. He did a lot of historical research. He interviewed survivors of the Titanic to get their accounts. So this is what we call historical nonfiction. And we're going to jump into our close read document. For the first read, we always just look at the characters, the plot, the setting, etc. On our close readings, or second read, we go a little bit deeper. We look for some specific items or skills or way that our author crafted the story. In this case, we're continuing to look for suspense, which is our topic for our whole unit, quarter 1. And as we read the story, we're going to look for and highlight for different pieces of information, different skills. So we're going to start with the weather. The first question is, how might the weather of the 5th night of Titanic's maiden voyage to New York have caught the crew and the passengers off guard, both thinking that there was little reason to think anything would happen? We're going to read the first couple paragraphs of the story, because that's where it talks about the weather, highlight for any details that talk about what the weather was like in the first 5 paragraphs, and then we're going to add some comments. So watch part 2 for where we do that together.